بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We begin reading ميزان العمل, the criterion of action by Imam Al-Ghazali rahimahullah, and this is the in line with these criterions, because the one before that was the criterion of knowledge. He said towards the end of معيار العلم, he said وإذا كان السعادة في الدنيا والآخرة لا تنال إلا بالعلم والعمل, وكان يشتبه العلم الحقيقي بما لا حقيقة له وافتقر بسبب المعيار, فكذلك يشتبه العمل الصالح النافع في الآخرة بغيره, فيفتقر لميزان تدرك به حقيقته, فلنصنف كتابا في ميزان العمل كما صنفنا هذا في معيار العلم, ولنفرد ذلك الكتاب بنفسه لتجرد له من لا رغبة له في هذا الكتاب. So those who are not interested in معيار العلم, they could simply read the criterion of action. And we are in for a serious journey, if you will. It's an amazing book. It does touch the heart. He said, rahimahullah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. The Shaykh, the Imam, the diligent proof of Islam, Hujjat al-Islam, Zayn al-Din, Abu Hamid, Muhammad ibn Muhammad ibn Muhammad ibn Muhammad Al-Ghazali, Al-Tusi of Tus, where he was born in the year 450. That's 1058. And it's easier to write Al-Ghazali rather than Al-Ghazali. Ya al-Nisbah always stressed. And the profession of his father was Ghazal, فهو Ghazali. He was spinning wool. A poor person who did not leave Imam Ghazali and his brother Ahmad much. May Allah be well pleased with him and make him well pleased. He said, happiness, which is the goal of all people, can only be attained by means of knowledge and action. He said, Imam Ghazali elsewhere, knowledge in itself is not enough, of course, and action without knowledge, you are jeopardizing your action. How do you know which action to perform? You need knowledge for that. Happiness, which is the goal of all people, can only be attained by means of knowledge and action. Neither of these can be attained without comprehensive understanding of its reality and its value. It is therefore necessary to recognize knowledge and distinguishing it from its opposite by means of some standard. And this we have already covered. Likewise, it is necessary to recognize felicitas felicitous action and distinguish it from damning action. And this requires its own criterion. So, at the end of معيار العلم, he mentioned the need for ميزان العمل. At the beginning of ميزان العمل, he mentioned معيار العلم. This kind of cross-reference helps arrange Imam Al-Ghazali's works, if you will, and verify authenticity. It's very, very important, especially where he mentions certain historical events, personal anecdotes in the text. All of this we shall explain in a way that rises above the confines of simple blind conformity, taqlid, and into the realm of clarity. And at the very beginning of Al-Munqidh min Ad-Dalal, Deliverance from Error, he said that he parted with taqlid, with this kind of conformity, early in his life. And I think it's very important to differentiate between taqlid and ittiba', okay? Because ultimately the ittiba', especially for scholars, that's not, what Imam Ghazali here, he talks about verifying knowledge, the sources of knowledge. He wanted indubitable knowledge. Because the opposite of ittiba' is ibtida', especially when people usually not well versed in religious studies and even other studies, when they venture and make a branch of knowledge a minute issue, when they make it a major issue rather than a branch, they make it the trunk. And they are out there not seeking knowledge, but they are out there hunting people to declare them non-believers, which is a very serious issue. If we were to examine it at further length, so as to get down to its innermost reality, it would be elevated to the level of certain proof, in the manner we described in معيار العلم. However, we shall not speak on it at such length here, but instead provide guidance towards its roots and principles. Lethargy in the pursuit of happiness is utterly folly. The happiness, the sa'ada, of the hereafter is our interest here. Before the details that Imam Ghazali mentions, Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas, Jazallah khairan, a Malaysian, a prominent Malaysian Muslim, intellectual scholar. He established the International Institute for Islamic Thought and Civilization. But unfortunately, when things changed he had a special relationship with Anwar Ibrahim. So when Anwar Ibrahim landed in unjustly in jail, Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas was removed from that institute, from Istak. But the issue here is he wrote about happiness, and he explained it really, and he compared happiness between Islam and Western Greek, practically thought originally, because happiness and for most people it is here and now. And if we borrow from Greek theater, Imam Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas said that either we talk about a tragedy or a comedy. So a tragedy, a happy beginning, and a sad, tragic end, and a comedy, sad beginning, troubled beginning, whatever, and happy end, but all here and now, all in this life. Whereas in Islam, it's not here. There's a beginning here, but it does not end here. So if we ask whether the tribulations that people go through here, if this is it, that will be a big loss. But no, there's something awaiting people. There is paradise and there is hellfire, and the happy person is who ends up in paradise, which would also mean that hardship in itself is not the it's not the end, and it's not really everything. And it depends how you interpret, like the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. It speaks about the source of good deeds of reward, even if one is pricked by a thorn. Imagine, pricked by a thorn. So imagine what people go through in the Gaza Strip. Not a thorn, but we talk about all these bombs and rockets, and if it's not a genocide, it's genocidal. If it's between 25,000 got killed already, and it definitely is going. The number is higher because all this rubble, thousands of homes have been destroyed, and they did not clear all the rubble, and some corpses have already been found disintegrated, really. Sad as it is, but we need to talk about happiness, which is almost like an oxymoron, but it's not. It's not. In terms of the hereafter, there is happiness. What's there? The details. Subsistence without annihilation, bliss without suffering, joy without sorrow, wealth without poverty, wholeness without deficiency, honor without degradation. Here there is suffering, here there is sorrow, here there is poverty, here there is deficiency. In sum, it is anything that could imaginably be sought or desired forever and ever. in a way not depreciated by the passing of aeons and ages. For even if the entire world were filled with seeds, and a bird were to snatch but one single seed every 1,000 years, the seeds would eventually run out, yet nothing could ever be diminished from the bounty of forever and ever. The, the essence of the text in Arabic has been conveyed, but if we talk about an accurate translation, will be a bit different. Rather than seed, the entire world will be filled with corn, ذرة. بل لو قدرنا الدنيا مملوءة بالذرة. And the bird snatching uh, one single seed, one single corn kernel, every 1,000 years here in the translated text, and we are using Khalid Williams translation. Excellent. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan. Rather than every 1,000 years, as in the translation in Arabic, ألف سنة. That's 1 million. That's 1 million. The seeds would eventually run out, yet nothing could ever be diminished from the bounty of forever and ever. That's in the Jannah, that's in the hereafter. By rights, no encouragement ought to be needed for the pursuit of such a thing, and the heinousness of declining it ought to be self evident, provided one believes that it exists. Indeed, any intelligent person would rush headlong towards something lesser than it, regardless of how arduous the path to it might be, or how many worldly comforts he might have to forswear, or hardships he might have to endure. Yet, hardship need not be endured forever, and that is lost on them. And what is lost on them is trivial, and the delights of the here below are transitory and short lived. An intelligent person is quite capable of relinquishing a small sum in the pursuit of a sum many times larger. Thus, you see that people in matters of trade, manufacturing, and even the pursuit of knowledge will endure all manner of degradation, loss, hardship, and toil in the pursuit of future enjoyment. In the pursuit of future enjoyment that outweighs their present losses. Though the gain is limited, how then could they not be happy to relinquish something in the present that would lead to gains that are unlimited and immeasurable? In the whole world, never has there been an intelligent person who would not be happy to give a single dinar and then wait a month before being compensated with a nugget of pure gold. Though it may be an immediate loss Any person who would not endure the pain of hunger during that month in order to attain that tangible gain could not be considered intelligent. It is perhaps unimaginable that such a person could exist at all, though death is ever lying in ever lying in wait for man, and gold is of no use in the hereafter. He might, after all, die during that month or one day after its passing, in which case the gold would not profit him. Yet none of these considerations would dissuade him in the least from making the sacrifice to attain that compensation. Again, if it, in terms of translation, a nugget of gold as a compensation for the single dinar. No, that's not what it is. So after 1 month, he would be compensated with the greatest elixir that changes copper into pure gold. Now, not only a nugget, then you just every quantity of copper that you could find could turn it into gold. ليعتاض عنه بعد مضي الشهر الإكسير الأعظم الذي يقلب النحاس ذهبا إبريزا. So this is the Arabic, and this is the English translation. How then can any intelligent person be deluded about resisting his appetites during the days of his life, which at the most will be 100 years? When the compensation for it is happiness without end. By mentioning the 100 years, if we talk about Palestinians today, those who are above 80 years old are 0.4. So that's less than 0.5%, obviously less than 1%. So it's very rare for people to live to 100, and some people will also be destined to have a few extra years, but that's a rarity. And by that time, it could be the case that the intellect would suffer, the memory would suffer, the no mobility, as someone put it, ultimately it's death, the story, the major story that the media does not talk about. And in general, people know it, but they don't talk about it. The major story is that all those 8 billion people who live on Earth today. Demographers say that it will stop at 10 billion by the year 2050. But the major story is that within the next 100 years, approximately, all those 8 billion people would have died. There's no way. That's it. You cannot get out of this life alive. Yet, nevertheless, people decline to follow the path of happiness because their faith in the hereafter is weak. Otherwise, even a person lacking intelligence will hasten down the path of happiness, let alone a fully intelligent one. The word elixir is not Arabic originally. It is Greek, and it went through different stages, phases, developments. So from xeros, dry, to Criterion, the powder, a dry powder for drying wounds, to the Arabic elixir, and hence the medieval Latin picking up the Arabic elixir, so did not take the Greek directly. This is because of the translation movement from Arabic into Europe, Latin, and then European languages. Somebody, while this is originally not Arabic, one can talk about English in itself. There was a study by someone by the name of Abu Ghosh. I don't know whether he is originally Abu Ghosh, like our Abu Ghosh here in Palestine, in a village in West Jerusalem, that survived the 1948 war. At any rate, that study says that 70,000 words in English are originally Arabic. And it's not only the impact of language, the sciences. The next subtopic, which we will not read today, suffice it, we have just begun the reading this criterion of action, Mizan Amal, alhamdulillah. So the next subtitle is the lethargy in the pursuit of faith in the hereafter. And that's number 2, is utterly. So lethargy in the pursuit of faith in the hereafter is also utter folly. Let me just say that again, the English translation is that of Khalid Williams, Jazakallah khairan, and the Arabic text that I'm using the Dar al-Minhaj edition. So inshallah we'll continue tomorrow. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.